No i teraz zostało tylko już może dość troszkę. Tam osiągnie 1000, 2000.
10 interesowany prawo, te pagano corrugere.
It may seem too strange, but I was right. Fascinating. Well, thank you. For this inclusion, I like these questions and discussing it. Okay, ladies and gents, two things here before we get to this party place, as I said. First, is this big building in this place. What is this, once again? Synagogue, exactly. This is the biggest synagogue standing here in Kazimierz, and this is the so-called Isaac synagogue. Isaac was the man who built it. Actually, he was called Isaac Jakubowicz, Isaac, son of Jacob, exactly. In early 17th century, he founded this synagogue, and it is said that in the beginning, he was very, very poor man, very poor Jew from here, from Krakow. And once he had a dream. In that dream, God spoke to him. You, oh my Isaac Jakubowicz, you're going to go to the city of Prague, exactly. You're going to find a place called Charles Bridge, and then you're going to find a very big treasure which is hidden just beneath the ground next to Charles Bridge. What has Isaac done? Well, he was woken up and he went straight to Prague. It was about 600 kilometers, just like this, the next day. And then, what happened? Well, he was wandering around Charles Bridge. It was impossible to just dig something out of the ground because the whole area was patrolled by soldiers all the time. So he just started talking to one of the soldiers. And surprise, surprise, this soldier told him his own story. He told him a story that there is he's got a dream too. And this dream was about a very poor Krakowian Jewish guy who was called Isaac Jakubowicz, who had a very, very big treasure hidden in his garden beneath the ground, just you know, in the soil in the ground in his garden. So what Isaac has done? Well, he didn't reveal himself. He just said goodbye, and then went back to Krakow, those 600 kilometers, and then found his treasure exactly at the right spot. So you may say that you may look all around the world and still find your treasure just at your doorstep. What has Isaac done later? Well, to thank God himself, he founded this very big synagogue for the Jewish community here, which is actually very nicely decorated inside. If you were craving to visit one of the synagogues here, it is one of your choices, I believe. You also have to pay a small fee to visit it, just like that. Then the second story of this place, well, something about language. Come here. Have a look at this name here. Exactly. I usually know, at this point of tour, I already know, if I didn't ask about that, who from the tour is Polish and who is not. Because basically this word here, actually it can mean several things in two main languages. In Hebrew, it stands for the money of the Jewish community, the treasury of the Jewish community. So all the money that was gathered for some purposes. And for example, from this money, the synagogue that is located at the end of that street over there, is called kupa, exactly. And then kupa can also mean something in Polish, and that is pile of poo, shit, you know, right? Sorry for the word, basically. But that's why it is extremely popular amongst Polish people who are not yet, who do not yet know what exactly did it mean originally, just like that. So, well, some say it's also the indication that you should watch your feet. It's not like that, don't worry, it's not really that bad here. So, right now, feel invited to the best party place in all of Krakow. You're going to be surprised by its looks, actually. It doesn't look like one, but it really is something special. A few meters away, over there. Follow me. Many cars. When you arrive here alone, you're usually not sure what to make out of this place. And I can understand that. From the outside, this place looks a bit run down, as actually many parts here of this Jewish quarter look. It is the result of about 40 years of neglect during the Communist years. After the Second World War, Communists didn't want Jewish culture to once again be started here, so they collected most of these houses here. Then they given them away to very poor people, usually some criminals, and so it was very dangerous part of the town up until 1989, the fall of communism here in Poland. And then this area started to be extremely trendy and fancy, so to say, for people wanting to visit the place, which was visit the place where Schindler's List was being shot, actually, because Schindler's List is the movie, which was released in 1993, so it will be already 20 years, and it made this place extremely popular, actually. How many of you have watched Schindler's List? May I just ask? Okay, for the rest of you, it's going to be your homework then, okay? Because actually, you can compare this black and white movie with colorful reality, because this is the colorful reality. Most of Schindler's List were actually shot here on the streets of Kazimierz. Most of the main scenery for the movie, especially the first part of the movie, was the Broadway, so the place that we visited. And then the place started to be very popular amongst locals and tourists alike, and it really is a rival to the main market square of Krakow there in the old town. And you may not believe me actually, but it really is. It's much more sometimes genuine than the old town of Krakow. There are many locals still living here, unlike in the old town actually. And actually around this small square, which we call traditionally the Jewish square or the New Square sometimes, there are at least 16 pubs and bars located around here. And there are also at least twice as many or maybe even more in the streets going off from the square itself. And then I'll try to introduce you to two most famous pubs located here, which you may choose later on to just sit down in, and they really have kind of a cult status. First, it's called Alchemia. Alchemia is located in that part of the place. You can see there's a corner over there, the yellow building, and Alchemia is located just next to that. Don't worry, in the end of this tour, I'm going to give you a special map of all those places tagged and described, so don't worry about this right now. There's really nothing to look at from the outside, but there is something inside Alchemia. Alchemia, so the alchemy. You go there, you may find actually the best rock and jazz and alternative music concerts in there almost every night. Also, they've got a very nice, basement where you can sit down with a beer or a coffee or whatever you really feel. Very cozy place, and also very strange way of communication between two main chambers. Have you heard about about a place called Narnia? It's a fantasy land created by C.S. Lewis and then filmed as well. How do you get inside Narnia? Through water. Exactly. And then in Alchemia, you can also try this in order to go from one chamber to another. You have to also go through a wardrobe. I like going there, just doing it back and forth just for fun. It's pretty cool. Check that out. Second place that you have here, and it's really place to, the cult place you would say, with a very special status, is located in yellow bricked house there at the corner, with those red, let's say red windows and so, well, yeah, how to call it. Yeah, anyway, it's located at the ground floor, and it is called Singer, or Singer. Does it tell you anything, this kind of a name? Any association with a company called Singer? Exactly, big sewing machines company, and they're actually still operating here. Before Second World War, there was a factory of sewing machines located exactly in that house over there. Right now, it is a very trendy bar. It still does have sewing machines on the tables, and it is particularly known as a place where people like to dance. And as this is not a very big place actually, sometimes people have to start dancing on tables because there is a lack of room over there. And it is really something. You can count yourself a true Krakowian if you participated in a spectacle like that. It may happen, for example, this night here today. You may check that out just for sure, just like this. Even if not, it is very cozy and nice place to sit down with a coffee or a beer, whenever you feel. And then the third thing here in the square is the one that I urge you have to remember. This round building in the center of the square used to be a ritual country slaughterhouse to produce where kosher food used to be produced before the war by the Jews. Then it was abandoned completely, of course, during Second World War. It was redistributed to the local people by the communist government. And then we have here right now the center of nightlife, and you can buy here the most important snack from Poland, something much better than any of your McDonald's and KFC stuff that you can find here. This is the so-called zapiekanka. It's half a baguette, big like this. Actually, no, not now, but you can sometimes see people walking around with them. Half a baguette, big like this, with cheese and mushroom on top of it. It's baked, and then you have any kind of additional topping that you might have. It may be vegetables, it may be meat, whatever you really feel. And it costs usually from 5 to 9 zloty. It is something absolutely not to be missed, actually, because it can serve as a whole lunch here in the town. And most of there are many companies selling them all around this round building, and they're competing against each other. Some of them have got their own Facebook profiles and and websites, and basically this is the best place to have them. And I can also tell you one more thing. If you decide yourself to go around here during the night, remember that sometimes after having a few drinks in any of these pubs, you may feel like you'd like to eat something. Then you have to go out, and all of these places are going to be open at least up until 2 a.m. in the morning. Then, after eating something, you may go into another pub and do like a round all around the square. It's pretty cool. So feel free to check this out. And one more thing, I can tell you from my own experience that zapiekanka saved my life hundreds of times here in the middle of the night, because it's usually the only place open. So keep that in mind. It's really something special. And now, something that I have to ask you. Could you pronounce the name, the word zapiekanka for me here? Because it's going to be the most important word that you're going to learn here on this tour. So sorry about this, but we have to do this. Zapiekanka, like this. Zapiekanka. Pretty cool. It's not that actually. It's not that bad as the other Polish words. So I hope you're going to remember that. This is the second word I want you to remember from this tour. And now we're going to move ourselves from the new square. Remember about it. Remember about the traditional market as well. It's going to be here as well. And remember about this market with fruit as well. And now we're going to go into the place which is going to be some kind of a secret passage in between two realities: Jewish reality and Christian reality. You have to remember that this town also used to be Christian once. Don't be surprised to see one very big church on the way here. And in the main market square of the Christian part, we're going to have maybe a short break to buy something to drink, as I believe some of you may need that, right? Is that okay? Oh yeah? Well, just the numbers were the numbers of, let's say, stalls before. There were many more small shops here around this square selling usually this kosher meat, and then it was all preserved, as you can see. Still, if you're watching closely, actually, all around this district, you may see some Hebrew inscriptions on the walls of some of the buildings. Maybe you'll be able to find them here just walking randomly a bit later, for example. Any more questions? Oh, that's nice. Okay, if not, let's go to the most atmospheric